Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got an exciting one for you. I want to be talking about commanders that rewrite the rules of the game. Let's jump into them after I mention, of course, that there's a handy-dandy card list link in the description below in case you're interested in any of these commanders. Now with all that said, let's jump into them. First up, Yurlok of Scorch, Thrash, a 4/4 Viashido Shaman with Vigilance for 4 mana and John, literally bringing back a dead rule by saying a player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life. Mana burn is back. And by the way, by paying 1 and tapping, each player adds Jund colors. This is one where you, well, again, make it so that opponents are actually finally, and you too, are punished for not utilizing all your mana. So please, please, please utilize it all. You, of course, can utilize some mana sinks. There's ways for you to utilize it. And, of course, you're going to be the one generating all the mana for everyone because, well, again, you have that handy-dandy ability, and you are in a color combination that does have some untap effects, especially in green. So you can utilize this again and again and again to give people a lot of mana that then they can't use, because you also have ways to lock down players' turns, basically, and say, like, oh, yeah, no, we can only cast spells on our own turn, or things like that, basically. Anyways, a great kind of commander to change up the rules, literally, again, bringing back a dead rule. Build around this one. It's a ton of fun. Next up, Zedruu the Greathearted, literally changing the rules of the game and how it all works, because, well, my cards are now your cards. But you don't want them. A 2/4 Minotaur Monk for 4 mana in Jeskai. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, draw X cards, X the number of permanents you own, your opponent's control. By the way, paying Jeskai colors, target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. Yeah, basically, hey, I don't want these things anymore. They're yours. By the way, I get to gain life and draw cards based on things that you own that are actually mine. Those things I gave you, aren't actually all that helpful because it's a bad gifts type strategy. A bad gifts type strategy. Please don't do that at the table. Anyways, being able to essentially go, yeah, you got like a goat commander or minotaur, whatever it is. Anyways, being able to essentially go, hey, I've got this really negative impact card that really hurts me, but instead of actually hurting me, I'm giving it to you. There you go. Take a 9 lives kind of card, essentially. Take a steel golem, cards that essentially make it so your opponents can't cast creature spells. There's a lot of really bad cards you can give your opponents, and this again just literally changes the rules of the game with what they can actually do in some strategies. Be able to be like, oh yeah, you can't actually play creature spells anymore, or just changing the rules of the game of like, oh yeah, my entire goal is literally get cards up that I don't want, I just give them away. So yeah, definitely a commander that changes things up a ton. Next up, Maralen Fae Ascendant, a 4/5 Elf Fairy Noble flying for 5 mana in Sultai. Whenever it or another elf or fairy you control enters, exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library. Once each turn, you may cast a spell with mana value less than equal to the number of elves and fairies you control from among the cards exiled with it, without paying its mana cost. Here's the thing about this one. You literally change the rules of the game where it's like, okay, instead of playing my own cards, okay, now I actually get to play your cards as well, or the ones that I exiled. And also I just get to do it, well, without paying mana. So basically I am breaking mana laws. I am breaking the laws of nature by playing my opponent's cards too. And you are starting to utilize their own cards against them, potentially even winning the game with their own cards with your massive elf and fairy deck. It is absolutely a fun strategy. It is one that is never the exact same every single game because, again, it is completely dependent upon your opponent's decks and what you get from them. So, yeah, a fun commander, one that changes up the rules and one that you can do a lot of powerful things with. Moving on, alright, Nekusar is here. The Mindrazer, a 2/4 zombie wizard for 5 mana in Grixis. We give each player's draw step, the player draws an initial card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Nekusar deals 1 damage to that player. Changing up the rules of the game in that, hey, typically drawing cards is a very good thing, and players are like looking forward to it. They're like, yeah, I would love to draw cards. This one's like, oh, by the way, Howling Mine, but you get hurt for it. In all the other cards you draw. Yeah, again, now all of a sudden, drawing cards equals very, very bad thing for your opponents. And you're going to be like, all right, everyone, draw some cards. It's like, yeah. Oh, wait, ow. No, ow, no. And then you put out some like damage doublers, damage triplers, like, ow, super ow, ow. Then you put out like lifelink on this. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. I get to gain life. Oh, and then you like, cast some wheel effects. Then everyone's drawing an insane amount of cards. And then all of a sudden the game is over because you win. Yeah, you change up the rules of the game, and that all of a sudden draw cards equals punishment, and your opponents, well, they're the ones being punished. Next up, Tivit, Seller of Secrets, teaching you the value of voting. A 6/6 Sphinx Rogue with Flying Award 3 for 6 mana in Esper. Whenever it enters the battlefield, deals comedy to a player. Starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, investigate. For each bribery vote, create a treasure token. And by the way, by voting, well, you get an extra vote. That is somewhat unfair. But hey, here's the thing. You make the rules with Tivit. You get to vote twice. Your opponents vote once. And also, by the way, it doesn't matter sometimes because all you care about is just creating a massive amount of artifact tokens. Regardless, again, you are able to essentially go, okay, on ETB or on combat damage, again, and this is evasive, I get to make 2 treasures, most likely, right? Because I'm probably picking 2 treasures. My opponents will probably pick the clues for me. That being said, you can incentivize your opponents not to pick those. You can have other ways to take advantage of those clues. You can take advantage of the treasures in various ways. Or again, it literally doesn't matter because you just care about making a massive amount of artifacts, and all of a sudden you're going infinite with like Time Sieve or something like that. You can do a lot of crazy things with this one. Again, literally changes the game into essentially like a voting contest. I mean, not even a contest, but you can politic. You can, deal with opponents. You can say like, hey, please vote for this, and I'll utilize this kind of a card because I need extra mana for this. You can do a lot of cool things with this, and it literally changes the game again from a normal game of Commander to, hey, what's the votes going to be? And of course, you've got other ways to influence the votes as well. Other kinds of cards that can give you extra votes too. It's a crazy cool card. Moving on. Who knew that rats' best friends were snails? Wick, the World Mind, a 2/4 rat warlock for 4 mana in black. Whenever it or another rat you control enters, you make a 1/1 black snail creature token if you don't control a snail. Otherwise, you get a counter on a snail you control. Oh, by the way, by paying, Grixis colors, you sacrifice a snail. Oh, yeah, just a small cost of sacrificing 1 snail. Wick's can deal damage. You can the sacrifice creature's power to each opponent. Then you draw a card. You can the sacrifice creature's power. Yeah, this is a fun commander. One that changes the rules of the game, and that all you're doing is basically making a giant snail army. You know how, armies are like a normal thing, in Magic, I guess, these days? This is more like, oh, yeah, it's a snail, but it goes tall, and all of a sudden, I chuck it at someone. Whoa, wait, no, not someone. Everyone! And I draw cards equal to power. So it literally changes the game to just, okay, get as many rats in play as you possibly can, and then chuck it. That's all you are doing, literally, again, changing up armies for essentially a snail army. It is such a fun commander, such a unique commander, and one that can absolutely dominate the game with snails. Next up, Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. Let's split those seconds by punching a hole in the time, I guess, and shattering glass. Anyways, a 2/5 Ogre Warlock with Menace for 4 mana in Grixis. Deals comedy with your player. You get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. Again, that many. Again, based off of how much damage you are doing. This changes the rules of the game, and that literally what you care about are upkeep steps, because you have got a lot of cards in your deck that are like, hey, on your upkeep, you get this benefit. And it's like, okay, cool. All right, or on their upkeep, you get this punishment for your opponents, like damage them. Okay, cool. And you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to swing through. It's got Menace, but I'll probably give it other form of evasion as well. Maybe I'll give it extra power, like Blackblade or Forge. Maybe I'll give it double strike. It's hitting for like 12, whatever it is. Anyways, and all of a sudden, I get 12 upkeep steps and absurd things happen. Again, you literally break the game when it comes to how those upkeep cards work, because typically it's like, oh yeah, those things trigger maybe like 8 times in a game if you're lucky. And this like, no, I'm triggering it like 8 times in a turn. Ha ha ha. Upkeeps are fun. Next up, Kynaios and Tiro of Meletis, a 2/8 human soldier for 4 mana, every color but black. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from their hand on the battlefield, then each opponent who didn't draws a card. Again, you basically just say like, hey, you know what? We know what's happening. we're changing up the rules of the game in that everyone gets a little bit extra, but I get the most. I get the most out of everyone, again, because beginning of my end step, I draw a card. Everyone else can draw a card, or they can get a land into play, basically. But I also can just get a land into play. So basically what is happening is with, your opponents, they're getting some value, sure, and they're enjoying that value, right? And you probably have other ways in the deck, obviously, to grant value. You got ways to seem like your group hug, but essentially what you're really doing is political control. You're getting favors from opponents. You're saying like, oh yeah, you do this for me, I'll do that for you. And then all of a sudden you're betraying players and taking them out the other game. It is a lot of fun to play this commander. Again, you can go really quickly with it. You can build things up really, really well with it. You can get a lot of value, a lot of resources. And your opponents think that you're their buddy, and they're not. They're not your buddy. You're taking them out. Next up, the biggie, the baddie, Grand Arbiter Augustin the Fourth literally changes the rules of the game. A 2/3 human advisor for 4 mana in Azorius. White spells you cast cost 1 less to play. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less to play. By the way, your opponents, when they play spells, they cost 1 more to play. Here's what's happening with this one. Your things are cheaper, your opponent's things are more. Literally rewriting the rules of the game, and I will mention with this one especially, this is a no-no commander. This is one that is on the, incredibly salty list. It always has been, it always will be. One of the saltiest commanders of all time. Again, it changes the rules so much in such a unfair way, basically in such an annoying way that players don't like to play against it. A lot of players don't like to play against it. So, please, don't just go build this and then assume players are okay with playing against it. This is one of those that you gotta kind of like ask first. You gotta be like, hey everyone, are we okay with like a more of a Staxy approach to a game, a more disgusting type game, everyone? One that's gonna be very punishing. Again, it's a very interesting commander, a very unique commander, one that changes the rules of the game, but one that many players out there might want to play against. So ask first, please. And finally, Homer the Hermit, a 0/9 crab druid for 3 mana in Sultai. It's got landfall. For every land you control enters, any number of target players each mill X for X's twice the number of crabs, lobsters, nautiluses, starfish, and/or trilobites you control. Yeah, it changes up the rules of the game in that it's like, all right, you know what this is about, actually? This is about milling, number one. I don't care about your life total. I care about the number of cards in your deck, and I'm taking them all out. And by the way, I'm doing so with the jankiest and most adorable of tribes. It's like the opposite of sea monsters, where it's like sea, tiny creatures. Anyways, being able to just dominate with that, just filling the board with a bunch of those types of creatures, then going like, oh yeah, land comes into play. Oh, and by the way, yeah, obviously you're in a great color combination for getting a ton of lands into play very, very quickly, and a lot of them. And being able to go, oh yeah, by the way, lands into play, and all of a sudden, all your libraries are gone. Bye-bye now. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.